How is it going, everyone? Today with my final video of 2018, of course, with the WWE SmackDown Live The Year of 2018 review video. If you guys have not yet checked out my NXT or RAW The Year of 2018 video, go ahead and feel free to check those videos out before this one. But of course, if you guys have already checked those videos out, which I do appreciate you guys if you did. Pretty much same format, pretty much no shebang, going across this whole video. So without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and jump right into the video with our overall thoughts on SmackDown Live in 2018. I thought it was good for the most part. Obviously it doesn't live up to 2016, SmackDown Live, but I definitely thought it was a better year than last year's. Yeah, definitely had more interest, and I definitely paid attention more often. I feel like the storylines were more compelling, and definitely the champions were better, especially the WWE champion. Of course, AJ Styles was the WWE champion 11 out of the 12 months we had in 2018, which is very, very impressive. Obviously, the tag team champions I never really had a complaint about. The United States Championship really was just thrown around, and I mean it wasn't really thrown around, but it just was thrown on the back burner. No one really cared about it. And the SmackDown Women's Championship, they centered a lot of the product around that championship. So I definitely think the women had a pretty big showcase in 2018, and I just feel like it was overall a good year. They had some good SmackDowns. Obviously you had your bad ones as well, and occasionally you had a great one. And I feel like the last couple months or so it's been picking up, slowly but surely it's getting better, and it's by far the best product on main roster, of course, in terms of SmackDown Live and Raw. It was definitely a way better year than Raw, without a doubt. So SmackDown Live I felt was a good solid year for the product and for the brand. You definitely had some new names coming up which they didn't really utilize, unfortunately, so I'm not gonna act like SmackDown's perfect. They definitely have its flaws that I'm hoping they go into 2019 fixing, but in terms of comparing it to Raw, tremendously better. So SmackDown Live, really no complaints about me for the year, besides the usage of some of the superstars they have on the roster. Some of the feuds could have been better, if not delivered more, and the matches could have been a little bit better as well. SmackDown Live usually delivers still with their matches. But for the most part, I mean, for the little part, I should say, there are some matches that didn't obviously live up fully to their potential. But all in all, I feel like SmackDown Live, like I said, was a pretty solid year this year. So really no complaints about me on SmackDown Live. Of course, the first category we have is Theme Song of the Year. Pretty easy because there really wasn't a whole lot of new theme songs, I felt like. But the one theme song that stuck out to me is right when it debuted. I thought it was absolutely awesome. Of course, is Shinsuke Nakamura's Shadows of the Setting Sun, or whatever it's called, something to that extent. Just like the remix of his original theme with some lyrics and rapping and whatnot. I just think it sounds badass. It's absolutely awesome to get down to. As soon as it plays, you can't help it. At least for me, I can't help but do the Nakamura dance with them when it comes out. So Shinsuke Nakamura's theme song gets Theme Song of the Year from me. From there, I'll go to Female Superstar of the Year. Now this one's a little bit more difficult because I feel like they really had transitional periods. There was one period where they focused on one person, then they went to the next person, and went to the next person. So honestly, you could probably make arguments for at least 3 people for Female Superstar of the Year. The one person that made the most impression to me, of course, was Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch gets my Female Superstar of the Year. Just the last couple months she's had as a heel, just her really coming out of her own, really cementing herself as a main event talent, really solidifies more than anything else anyone else has done on the SmackDown Live Women's roster this year. So in my opinion, Becky Lynch was the Female Superstar of the Year on SmackDown Live. Most improved, this one's a little hard because again, it's really hard to scout the talent that's really improved big time since then. But I feel like these two competitors were people that people thought were good, but I feel like they've really transitioned themselves into really cementing themselves as solid talent. And that being Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. I don't know, I just feel like those two have really come together, not even with their characters, but in-ring as well. I feel like they're pretty good and solid in-ring, and their characters are pretty solid as well. So, it's kind of a throwaway one to me, but I'll go ahead and give it to Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. From there, we go to the overall match of the year. Now, what I mean by overall match of the year is what I felt was the best match on the roster, meaning it could have been an inter-brand match, it could have been, a match that pretty much inter-brand, Raw vs SmackDown Live guy, or just a match that involved, that wasn't a single branded match. Basically, in my opinion, the overall match of the year was the men's Royal Rumble match. I feel like that was the match I had the most fun with. Definitely one of the best Royal Rumble matches we've seen in quite some time, probably since Royal Rumble 2008, to be perfectly honest. That was an awesome Royal Rumble, and I feel like 2018 it was just as good, if not better than that one. And just the final 4 as well, even the final 6 when it was like the Ruthless Aggression era versus the current era. I thought that was an awesome moment, and you had a lot of great surprises as well. So the men's Royal Rumble to me was just an awesome Royal Rumble, and the best match WWE had this entire year, if you ask me. So the men's Royal Rumble gets my overall match of the year. From there, I would go to most disappointing match of the year. Now, this one was very easy just because of the hype going into the match. Now, granted, watching it back, I do think it's a very good match, but nowhere near the level that the match should have been. And obviously, that's AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania 34. That match was a huge letdown, especially live. I remember sitting there, just being very excited for it and watching it, just being like, okay, this match is happening. I'm not excited, but it's happening. And, it's just a very, whatever match. Like, at least live, like I said, going back and rewatching it, it is a very good match in my opinion. But, did not live up to the, to sound like a mark, 5-star level expectations I think everyone was hoping for that aspect. So, obviously, most disappointing match goes to AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania. From there, I would go to most overrated. Now, this one's another hard one because I don't feel like there's a lot of guys that are overrated, at least on SmackDown. At least are treated overrated. But these two, again, it's kind of a throwaway just because I don't want to hate these two, but I feel like these two, they're on TV a good percentage of the time, but when they are on TV, it's just bad. And I like these two, but so I kind of hate to give this to them, but I give most overrated to the Iconics. I just feel like when they're on TV, they don't captivate my attention. Their promos are usually pretty bad. Their in-ring work is just not good at all. Even though I try to praise them and say that they're good, but when I watch them, just everything they do looks so phony and it looks so bad, and it doesn't come across good at all. So I just gave most overrated to the Iconics. From there, I'll go to most underrated superstar of the year. This one was pretty easy to me because this person, to me, has all the talent in the world, and they just don't utilize that for whatever reason. And that being Andrade Cien Almas. I remember when he got called up, everyone was very excited to see him on the SmackDown Live roster. Everyone thought he'd be a perfect fit, and he's been on SmackDown Live for 8 months, and he's done absolutely nothing. He's just there. He's jobbing the guys left and right nowadays, and they're definitely not using him to his full potential at all. He definitely could be a WWE champion, and they're treating him like he's absolutely nothing. So, like I said, I see the talent, I see the world in this guy, and they just don't utilize his talent that way. So, my opinion, most underrated goes to Andrade Cien Almas. From there on, we go to Feud of the Year. Now, you can select a handful of feuds, in my opinion, for this category, but this one, I feel like this feud particularly really grasped people's attention and really elevated their division as well. And that being Charlotte and Becky Lynch. I feel like those two went out there and really put people's eyes on the women's division and really opened up people's eyes to them main eventing WrestleMania one day. I mean, more so Becky Lynch opened people's eyes to it, but I feel like those two really went out there, like the storyline with Becky Lynch turning heel, obviously, and yet, even though Becky was one that turned heel, Charlotte was still the bad guy in the situation somehow. And, just the promos they had were great, and the segments they had with, Charlotte giving the speech at the Performance Center and Becky Lynch interrupting it. I just feel like every step of the way they had every week really captivated people, and I really think they definitely put on the best storyline in terms on SmackDown Live this year. So I will give Feud of the Year to Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. From there, we'll go to Face of the Year. To me, there's only really one face that stood on top the entire year, obviously, and that's being AJ Styles. What's not to love about the guy? So, not really much explanation behind it. I think AJ Styles, like I said, he's been the #1 guy in SmackDown pretty much the entire year, so it's kind of hard not to give him Face of the Year. So, yeah, AJ Styles gets my Face of the Year. From there, we'll go to Markout Moment of the Year, and to me, it was very easy to pick this one, just because, this man actually had all my markout moments really on SmackDown Live, but the one moment I will give it most up to just because of how happy I was when it happened, and that was when Daniel Bryan announced his return. Him coming back and doing like a phenomenal promo about him returning to the ring. I just thought that was the best way to do it. Him winning the WWE Championship is up there as well, but I feel like I was more happy and more surprised by him coming back than him winning the championship. So Daniel Bryan announcing his return to the WWE, or at least in-ring return, to me gets my markout moment of the year. I was just over the moon happy when they announced that he was cleared. So Daniel Bryan returning gets my markout moment of the year. Tag team of the year. This one's another hard one to me because I feel like they showcase different tag teams, in bulks. Like this tag team was on top of the world, and they went to a different tag team and really showcased them for a while. So it's kind of hard, but I feel like one tag team was most consistent, even though they weren't on the spotlight the most. I feel like they were still putting on better matches than any other tag team, that being the Usos. I feel like, whether they're having matches with the New Day, the Bar, the Bludgeon Brothers, Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles randomly, any position they're putting in in terms of a match, I feel like the Usos always go out there and deliver. The great promos as well. They always go out there and deliver phenomenal promos. Obviously, their 2018 wasn't nearly as good as their 2017, but I feel like the Usos still remain on top of the world in 2018 on SmackDown Live. So the Usos get my SmackDown Tag Team of the Year. For there, we're going to Best on the Mic. Very easy, Samoa Joe. I feel like any material this man was given, he was able to go out there and knock it out of the park just like that. Even with these crappy promos he was given, you know, he was able to go out there and still make them great somehow. So I don't think anyone really touched Samoa Joe on the mic on SmackDown Live, to be perfectly honest. So Samoa Joe gets my best on the mic on SmackDown Live. Next, we go to Heel of the Year. Now, this one was a little more difficult because, again, you know, WWE is lacking major heels, and obviously Daniel Bryan's the #1 heel right now. But, you know, it's hard to say. You know, I like to try and get the guys who've been, you know, that category year long. You know, Daniel Bryan just turned heel last month, and I feel like to say that he was the best heel of the year, which he may very well be. I don't know. I just don't really feel comfortable giving it to him, and I like to give the guys that have been that character, you know, year round, or at least for the majority of the year. And so, to be perfectly honest, I'm gonna give Heel of the Year to Randy Orton. I feel like the stuff he was doing with Jeff Hardy, you know, putting the screwdriver through his ear, and just him putting the neck around Rey Mysterio's neck, and just the way he's carried himself as a heel since transitioning back to a heel. Great promos, you know, his matches are entertaining still. I feel like he's really hit a new stride, new level as his heel persona. So, you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and get the Randy Orton. Just like I said, you know, he's, you know, his diabolical stuff he's been doing, and a lot of stuff he's doing was legitimate stuff that made me cringe too. So, he wasn't a heel that I enjoyed watching in terms of like. What I mean by that is obviously Daniel Bryan, his heel stuff, you enjoy it, you love it. But with Randy Orton, he actually does stuff that makes you cringe and makes you not want to look, and you actually hate what he's doing. So that's why I gave my heel of the year to Randy Orton. From there we go to show of the year. Now this one was pretty easy just because I feel like a lot of the pay-per-views this year were lackluster. They weren't very good, but there were a few tier pay-per-views that were pretty good and a few rare ones that were great. But this show, you know, happened, and I just remember being very happy with the result of it, or just with how it went. And that being the Royal Rumble. I feel like the Royal Rumble definitely delivered as the best show. You had two fantastic Royal Rumble matches. You know, the mid-card, you know, at least the SmackDown Live mid-card portion of the card was pretty good. The Raw part was just okay, but I feel like overall in terms of a show that I sat through and watched, I feel like with that show, I was definitely most satisfied out of any other show. You know, you can make the argument for, you know, SummerSlam, Hell in a Cell, Survivor Series, and TLC as well. But I feel like with the Royal Rumble, like I said, overall, it just made me more excited for the overall product going forward. And I just had the most fun watching that show out of any other pay-per-view. So Royal Rumble to me gets show of the year. From there we go to segment of the year. Now this one was pretty easy because there's not a whole lot of segments that stick out in my mind in terms of SmackDown Live, but the one that really stuck out to me and just me being so hyped up for and just me having a big smile on my face when it happened was when Daniel Bryan fought back against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens once he made his return. I feel like, you know, when they attacked Bryan and Bryan finally fought back and everyone just lost their minds, it was so good. It was just such a feel-good moment seeing Bryan finally, you know, lay his stuff back in for the first time in 3 years. It was absolutely awesome. I loved every second of it. Of course, it ended with, you know, Bryan getting the powerbomb onto the apron and whatnot, but I feel like that whole segment overall, with just that fight, that brawl, was awesome, and I really enjoyed it. So, to me, segment of the year on SmackDown Live goes to when Daniel Bryan fought against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, fought back against them, I should say. From there, we go to match of the year. Now, this one could be a little bit harder just because, again, SmackDown Live typically delivers with their matches, so you do have a handful of options in terms to match of the year on SmackDown Live, if you ask me. But the one match that really sticks out to me, and I just remember loving it when it happened, and I think a lot of people will agree that it's, you know, a lot of people argue that it's the main roster's match of the year, which I won't argue that at all. And that being Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, last woman standing at Evolution, that just had every element to a match, you know, minus Charlotte fucking up at times and, you know, clearly standing up at the 10 count, but when she was supposed to be standing up. But I feel like, you know, they went out there and had an awesome brawl. They beat the fuck out of each other, and they definitely, you know, deserved match of the year on SmackDown Live. So, excuse me, again, my match of the year, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Evolution, last woman standing, SmackDown Women's Championship. Just awesome stuff there. From there, we go to Superstar of the Year. You know, obviously this consists of the most well-rounded superstar with the best year overall, and I don't think anyone could really argue this, and that being AJ Styles. You know, AJ Styles, again, like I said, was WWE Champion for 11 months out of the year. He was very consistent, whether he was fully delivering in matches or not. He still had at least good matches, good to great matches at least. So I don't think anyone could really fault it or really argue it. You know, AJ Styles, you know, SmackDown Live is the house that AJ Styles built, and you know, he really showed it in 2018, if you ask me. So without a doubt in my mind, AJ Styles gets Superstar of the Year. And of course, the main event, the last category, is Superstar to look out for in 2019. Now, this one's a little more difficult because a lot of the guys on here are more established guys, and a lot of the younger talent aren't really doing much, so it's really hard to see me pitching them doing big things in 2019. But one person I feel like should get a big push 2019, and hopefully he does get a big push leading to a WWE Championship run, hopefully, is The Miz. I feel like The Miz is long overdue for that championship opportunity once again. I feel like, the whole storyline with him and Shane, I'm not for at all. It'll probably lead to a WrestleMania match, which I don't want to see. But, I think Miz, once he branches off that, I feel like they need to build him up as a top guy once again. Maybe even dethroning Daniel Bryan, which obviously is wishful thinking. I think a lot of people have been wanting that since Daniel Bryan's heel turn. Well, kind of since the double turn, really, is that, the wishful thing was that Miz beats Bryan for the championship. And it doesn't look very likely as of right now, but I still have hope that they do something with the Miz. Like I said, the dude's long overdue for a push again. He's been proving himself for the last couple of years now. He deserves to be a main event talent. And I feel like 2019 is a perfect way to present him in that spotlight as well. So, to me, the superstar to look out for in 2019 in SmackDown Live definitely is The Miz. I do hope he becomes WWE Champion once again, and hope it's a big year for The Miz overall. So, yeah, that'll do it for the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, of course, leave a like below. 2018 was a great year. I'm not just talking about WWE, but I'm talking about just for me in general. I feel like 2018 was a lot of fun. I went to a lot of great shows, like WrestleMania weekend. Went to New Japan show for the very first time. Went to TLC, a couple weeks ago. Even events outside of wrestling. Just my life in general. I feel like 2018 definitely was a great year. And definitely was a huge highlight. And, I just was very pleased how the year went. Met some incredible people, made some amazing memories, and I absolutely loved 2018. And I hope my 2018 delivered for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed my content this year. I know my content's really become more predictions and review videos. Every now and then, of course, I'll do like discussion videos, but I hope you guys enjoyed the content I delivered this year. If you guys have stuck through me the entire year, thank you very much. If you're new around here, I appreciate you joining me on my journey. Going into 2019, I'm not too sure where 2019 is going to lead me. To be perfectly honest, I thought, I thought I was going to stop doing this years ago. So the fact that I'm still going surprises me. So I don't even know what 2019 has in store for me. But hopefully it's a great year. Hopefully it's a great year for all you guys as well. Once again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, please like below. Until 2019, I'll see you guys, and thank you guys for watching the video.